Welcome to Rev Up Your Potential with Hilda Gann, the stories about entrepreneurs, business leaders, and HR professionals and their successes and struggles along their journey. In this podcast, we also discuss the HR challenges that people face and the tips and strategies that have helped them. If you love to learn through storytelling, join us. Today, I have Anthea Mumby. She's the founder of the Dream Team Consulting. And she is a family-run business before, and I want her to share her story. So she specializes in family businesses, and Anthea, welcome. Welcome to Rev Up Your Potential podcast.
Hi, Hilda. Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I was listening to some of your podcasts this morning and I love them. I love the content, and I see that you've done over 40 so far. So congratulations. That's awesome.
This is season 3 now, and so thank you for being part of my third season. I'm getting better at it too, and I'm just enjoying finding people who are really interesting and have a story to tell. And I want my listeners to hear about people's different stories, because you never know what you'll learn from other people. So maybe, Anthony, you could start by kind of sharing. You were in a family-run business. You started off as a young adult working for your parents. Tell me about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah. So the family business started. It was actually in the basement of my parents' home, and I was 8 years old when my parents decided to start that business. So my dad had left the corporate world and decided to start his own business. So when I was around, I think grade 12 is when we learned typing skills, and so I took typing class. And that was it, because my dad said, "Hey, I have some work for you. I could use your typing skills for some administration and that type of thing." So so I jumped into work. It was my dad was the one person, but my mom was also doing some of the admin behind the scenes and the bookkeeping at the time. I got involved, and I ended up. So I was working part-time through school, went to university, and did my insurance brokerage licensing. So it was a insurance brokerage, and I did my insurance brokerage licensing concurrently with my university education. And I said to my dad, like, you are sitting on a gold mine of opportunity here, Dad. Like, there's so much opportunity with this business, because he had been very smart, that he was focused on niche, working with professional associations. So he had carved out that niche of professional associations and was working to grow and expand that niche. And so, I saw huge opportunity there. I jumped in, and then ultimately, time went on, and my husband joined the business as well. He became part of the succession plan. And then I was a different part, because we were in different areas of expertise that we had in the insurance business. So he was one side, I was another side, and ultimately ended up buying the business from my parents. So I worked for both my parents, and then I worked with my spouse.
So we're talking a complex family business. business.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you gravitate to it, or did you instantly, like, were you expected to be part of the business? Did you want to be part of the business? Like, what's the story there?
Yeah, it was, again, I just saw the opportunity, and I saw that, we could grow it. And I really had great synergy. Like, my dad was an amazing storyteller, and we would sit around the dinner table at night and he would tell his stories. And, he would get in the car, drive to Toronto, right? We were in Kitchener-Waterloo. He'd drive to Toronto almost every day of the week. That's how he was, marketing and selling back in those days.
Yeah.
And it was get in front of clients. So it was the stories, and even the difficult stories where he would talk about, like, the sad parts of, having to deliver life insurance checks and things like that. But I just found it really meaningful. And I just wanted to be part of it. I tried other things. I tried teaching, and it wasn't my thing. And so yeah, it was just I saw opportunity.
What would you say are the highs and lows of being a family business? Your experience, obviously, of highs and
Yeah.
lows of being a family run business.
Yeah. So the highs definitely working with your loved ones to create something and have that synergy and just, create a legacy, create the vision together. Just, getting to work with them on a daily basis was always a very big high and still is now in some of the work that I do with my husband. Lows can be never ending, right? Like there's
Well,
no
I mean,
there's no stop.
my husband and I had our he's the engineer and I'm the other, but we had our engineering consulting business for 13 years and we worked for together for 17 years, and I'm a nurse. I never in my nursing days thought my husband and I are going to own a company and we're going to work together. How does an
No.
engineer and a nurse work together? So I get it. I get so share those lows.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it would start at like 6 o'clock in the morning, right? Where my husband and I would be in the bathroom getting ready for the day. And, he'd be in the shower, I'd be doing the hair and makeup stuff. And it would already be like, okay, business, like, what are we doing today? What's our challenges? What's going on? We have an HR issue over here. We've got this, like, problem solving. And then it would just continue until our heads hit the pillow at night, until we learned, we had to learn different ways of working together. But it was just, nonstop, nonstop. And that can be, where's the balance
Yeah,
when that's
yeah.
happening,
Like
right?
the door, well, now everybody's working remote. Everything, people realize that it's almost seamless. It's hard. I I learned to respect our differences. I'm a go, 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 and my thought is running all the time.
Yeah,
And I'm a people person. So I would say, now don't forget tomorrow is Susan's 5th anniversary. So say, happy anniversary to, could you tell me that in the morning? Because we're brushing our teeth, right? And he's one
right.
of those, give me an hour to wind down. And I'm like the ever ready bunny, right? I'm just go, go, go. So I said,
Yeah,
oh, right. Sorry. I'll mention that tomorrow. So I had
yes,
to always kind of keep my
yeah,
myself in check to respect that time that he needed to wind down. Because if I said something that got his brain thinking he needed to get wound down again. So yeah,
yeah,
that's a struggle to make sure you have that space and that time. And I think that many people who are in COVID now and realize that, yeah, we are all kind of not being able to set our boundaries and going with family and with business and work right up
right.
till a time where we're too tired and
Yeah,
down.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And another thing I just want to throw in on the not so good part is also when you have all of your income, like all of your revenue for your family is coming from this one business,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
That can be pretty scary at times. It's like, both of us together, and we've got to make this work because we had leveraged everything we had to buy that business from my parents,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we had the mortgage, we had, all the business expenses and our personal. So that created a lot of pressure as well at times. So, yeah, it could get pretty intense at times thinking about, okay, we've got these responsibilities and how to manage through that.
Yeah, and I think sometimes people who don't have their own businesses think, "Oh, isn't that cushy? She can go and pick up the kids every day at 3." But there are a lot of anxieties that to successfully manage, and where's that next client coming from? And sometimes it's not as fast as you wanted to, and that does affect the finances and the bottom line and creates the stress. So it can be there's highs and there's lows, and I
Yes.
think with family run businesses there are the complexities. People just don't
Yeah.
realize sometimes the tensions that families can have when you're working together. Now that's a
Hmm.
positive note. So tell
Yeah.
us more about you. You told us about selling the business, and your company's name is Dream Team Consulting. Tell us
Mhm.
more about Dream Team Consulting, because I know you've got this dream team on top of the consulting part. So share that with us.
Yeah, yeah. So my business is sort of split into two pieces. There's the consulting work that I do with my clients, and it's really around, vision and strategy. And then there's the dream team part of it, and the dream team is where I can say to a client, um, you know what, if you need help with, maybe it is your HR or could be marketing or could be business coaching, whatever. I have somebody on my dream team that can help you. And so they're all business owners and they all get what it's like to be a business owner. And then they can come in, whether it's, on a short term project or, whatever the client needs to help that client achieve the vision that's been set out. So because I really want to see my clients achieve the vision that they're looking to aspire towards. And because these other dream team business owners have a skill set that I likely don't have, may not have, certainly don't have on a deep level, I can make that introduction. And it's a win-win-win for everybody. The client wins. I win because the satisfaction of seeing the result. And of course, my dream team member is winning a new client as a result.
I like how you
So,
called it Dream Team.
yeah.
Was that deliberate? What made you choose Dream Team?
Oh my goodness. So it actually was, I think, 3 years ago in the summer. This was before I had sold my insurance business. And I was really just reflecting one day and just doing some deep reflection on myself as a business owner and my skills and what I do naturally. And it just came to me like I've always been able to kind of connect people and help, with again, that what is the dream or the vision,
Mhm.
and then what is the team that can help achieve it? Because entrepreneurs often we tend to try to do everything ourselves, and we don't delegate, or we don't, maybe we try and hire internally, and we don't actually need it internally. We need that external outsourced um, partner. And I did quite a bit of that in the insurance business as well. So yeah.
You've mentioned it several times, and I do want to talk about it. You talked about dream, but you use the word mission and vision. And
Mhm.
in my consulting, I like to talk about everybody needs to have a mission, vision, and values, because that
Mhm.
forms the foundation of what you will develop, whether it's the clients that you have or the staff that you hire or even your business operations processes. They're based on that mission, vision, and values. And you've mentioned it several times. So share how important that is as a foundation in your consulting business.
Yeah, it's critical. It's critical. Um, everything comes from that place, right? Values, having those clarity around those values, that's going to guide the decisions that are made on a daily basis in the business,
Mhm.
right? And I found as soon as we, made decisions outside of the values, boy, did we, it would hurt us. It would come back and like so we would be like, oh, why do we knew better, right? And it's like, okay, get back on track with the values. Vision, critical again. Knowing where you want to go with your business and making sure that everyone around you that's involved with that business knows exactly what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So, unlike a strategic plan that can kind of often be like tucked away and, put to the side, and the staff may not even know what it is, or clients may not even really know what it is.
Yeah.
When you have a vision and you share it, right? It's just people are going to say, I want to be part of that. Or some may say, no, no, thank you. Not for me. Don't align. those aren't my values. That's not where I want to go. Great. Let's know that now. Let's
Exactly.
know that,
And
right?
that's so critical when you're hiring people. You want people on board almost like ambassadors of the company. Like it's I call them mini me's. Wouldn't you like to have more mini me's in your company? Wouldn't that run better? And so, not exact duplicates, but studies show that when people's values and the mission don't align, they're the people that aren't going to last more than 6 months. And oftentimes they say when people arrive at a company, you've hired them, and if within the first 2 days they can tell whether they've made the right decision because either the values don't align or what you promised them. Come, it's a great place to work. But on that first day, they don't get introduced to anybody. Nobody takes them out for lunch. I mean, that's the real working days. But nobody
Yeah.
phones them to welcome them or have a connection. And they're floundering. They don't know what they're doing because nobody is connecting them and engaging them and making them
Right.
feel welcome in the company. So it's so important. I've worked with some clients who've been in the business for 5 years. They don't have a mission, vision, or values. And I try to coax it and tease it out of them. And, you know, they need it. They need it to drive the business, to drive where they're going. Because when you're rudderless, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some of the successes and the struggles. So what would you say are some of the high points of your entrepreneurial career?
Oh my goodness. So high points. So if I think back to the insurance world, my dad was very smart when he decided to specialize in niches. It was a very, he was kind of a pioneer at the time in 1975. That wasn't happening in the insurance industry. So when he decided to work with architects and engineers and design professionals across Canada, that was very much a smart decision. And so I continued to build that and grow that and expand that. So being very successful in that area and being known as the expert was definitely and still is. It still is. Very much a proud moment. For me, also really collaborating with other business owners. So when I started to get out of the office more and away from behind the desk and get out to different, groups and be involved with masterminds and different, outside of my normal sphere, so to speak, that was also led to some really amazing new, meeting new people like yourself, Hilda, and just more wisdom and insights and sharing and collaboration. And collaboration is definitely one of my core values in the business. So that was another thing. And then, and successfully, selling that business, the part of the business that we did sell, on successfully, even during COVID, it really was a great, highlight of my my entrepreneurial career. And now being in this next business where it's like, retirement, what is that? I don't even know what that word means. Like, I can't. Like, what?
Yeah, but truth be told, you're now in your winter place for a few months to get out of the cold, so to speak.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so for those who don't know, Anthea is podcasting from Osoyoos in BC, and though she's normally based in Ontario, so
Yeah,
she
yeah, yeah. Still working, and
yes,
it's
still
like
working.
because people would say, "Oh, you're on vacation." And it's like, no, we're
No,
not.
no,
We're not.
no,
Like
no.
he's literally my husband's underneath me, like one floor down. He's call after call because I had to message him and say, "I'm on podcasting and doing some calls today. I know you are too. Let's hope the internet's going to
Yes,
cooperate, right?"
yes.
So he's working his magic with his insurance clients. I'm doing my, having conversations like this with you today, and so we're working. We're just doing it the way that we enjoy doing it. So
Well, I
yeah,
had one entrepreneur colleague who said, "My dream is to spend the winter in Australia where it's summer, right?" And
Mhm.
or was it? Yeah. Well, she did. She finally, after about 5 years in the business, she says, "I'm going to be working now for the next 4 months in Australia. My grandchildren are here, my daughter's here, and this is my dream come true." So, but again, she was working, but she was doing
Yes.
it in a place where she enjoyed. So I want to talk about what you called a staffing tsunami. So this is
Mhm.
probably the most impactful, like oh my God moment in your journey. So share about the staffing tsunami.
Yeah, yeah. So that was interesting. So I think it was the outset of 2015. So my husband and I had booked a couple weeks off. We always like to take the first week of the year off, and that was kind of our time together, where we would say, okay, our business has a new name, and it is called Figment, like figment of our imagination, right? So so we're down in Costa Rica with this, having this family time. Our daughter was with us as well. And then and the staff knew that basically, unless it was fire, flood, or blood, those were the three: fire, flood, or blood. We too were a figment of their imagination. Like they were going to take care of, clients and business. Anyway, we get this panicky call from the office that there had been, a very serious issue with one of our team members, a personal issue. And it took off like a tsunami. It was like one after, and we had about 10 staff at the time. And it was one after another. It just had a personal, like nothing to do with business, but it was a personal situation that had occurred. Whether, there was illness, there was accidents, there was, where there was a death in the family. Like it was just one thing after another, right? So that was the staffing tsunami. We were down to, it was myself and my husband and his assistant
Wow.
within I think a couple months. That was how 2015 started for us. So that was hard. That was scary. That was, how on earth are we going to keep our doors open? Like we have thousands of clients. How can we serve them? How can we do this? Right? It was tough.
So
It was
how
tough.
did you serve them? What did you
Hmm.
do?
So we, at the time, we were lucky that we had one of a partner, an insurance company that was able to, we were able to divert the calls into their call center
Hmm.
for a couple of months, and that just gave us some breathing space to go and start finding some new team members, and bringing them in and getting them up to speed, and you know yeah, thank goodness we had that as a solution, because with insurance brokers, they have to have their insurance license, and you can't just hire anybody and say, here, come and talk to clients. Like you have to have that designation
Yeah, yeah.
legally in
Mm.
order to be able to talk to a member of the public and give any advice. So yeah, it was tough, but we got through it. We got through it.
Good thing that you had the connection where you could have a company to do that, because oftentimes there's that competition and they'll say no, we want something for that, we want your clients. So
Yeah.
wow, wow.
Yeah. Well, they knew, like we had specialized in these associations,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they would lose, it would impact them as well. So it was kind of like
Okay,
we
so
needed to do.
it was helpful for it was important for them to help you, because it was a win-win situation if they helped you. I get that.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Oftentimes when people are looking for staff and they feel a time pressure in your case, they will sometimes hire second best.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite the right, but this will do.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Mm-hmm.
find yourself in that
Mm.
situation?
Yep. I did. I did. It was hard. I had to make some choices that were not the right fit. But it was a matter of like do or die. Like,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
we needed to do that. So some of those people that we hired initially didn't stick, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
uh, yeah, and it was, I can't, looking back now, I could say, yeah, I could see that they were not going to be the right fit for the organization and for the, what we were creating, but kind of needed to make some decisions at that
Yeah.
time.
And I
Yeah.
think as an entrepreneur, it's about risk and balance. Sometimes you make a tough decision, it's not the right decision, but the balance is I need somebody now. This one at least is pretty good. And if it works out, great. But if it doesn't, this is buying us enough time. And so
Yeah.
it's always about balancing risk and reward and outcome. And sometimes you have to make a decision that isn't perfect, but it's the right thing at the right time. It's the
Yeah.
right thing at the right time.
Yeah. Exactly.
What's the one piece of advice that you would give to your former younger entrepreneur? Say the one that just bought dad and mom's business, or if you need to go back further, but
Yeah.
tell us that point where you would say, this is where I am in my journey, and this is the advice I want to give today to that young person at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about this a lot. So, and I was in my, early 30s at the time. And it would come back to two parts. So again, the vision, like the clarity around the vision, including the values,
Mm-hmm.
and sharing it, again, not having it in our heads, like making sure we were having the conversations and engaging, and then having the right who to help bring it to life, with the right people that we could bring into that vision. Like my dad, when I bought that business from my mom and dad, there were really no other staff, or there might have been a couple, like, yeah, not a lot. So my dad, so he didn't realize the importance of HR,
Mm-hmm.
as an example, because he didn't have, like, he had grown, like, there were no staff, right?
Right,
Very
right, right,
little.
right, right.
So I had to learn that over time. Like, okay, there's some things I need to learn here about HR to grow this business successfully. He didn't really, know about, like, he wasn't really into marketing a lot. Like, he would, his marketing was get in the car, drive to Toronto, and talk to people and have these niches, right? So you know, again, there was no social media in those days, right?
Right, right.
So it was,
Hard to imagine now that
I
we
know.
had to grow a business without social media. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, having the who's to help bring that vision to life
Yeah.
more mindfully, doing that would definitely be something I would recommend to my younger self.
Okay. Um, I am an HR specialist, so I do want to ask you, what would you say is one of your HR headaches? Share one of the HR headaches that you've had and how you dealt with
Hmm,
it,
an HR headache.
other than the grand tsunami.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you know somebody is really, really struggling with a personal issue, I can think of, a couple where health was a big issue for them,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel, badly for what they're going through, right?
Yeah.
Especially because they've shared, because, part of what I would do is I would create that culture where they could share things with me, and we would have monthly meetings, and I would mentor them, basically. So they would share with me, and then but they would have, like, these things, and I still needed them to perform.
Yeah.
That was hard, right? Like, ah, I feel badly for you and what's going on, but I need you to show up and not keep calling in sick, because it's impacting the team, it's impacting client service. So, yeah, those were hard.
Yeah, that's the struggle as an entrepreneur. How do you balance understanding and the empathy against the ability to get the work you need done? And hopefully the outcome is a good one, but sometimes the outcome is not. It's tough. It's tough to make that decision. Yeah. One other thing I wanted to talk about that you and I had talked about prior to today's podcast is that you have invested a lot in yourself, in your professional development. Uh,
Mhm.
can I share the amount?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have said here, I have invested over $250,000, like $250,000 in my own business education. And now you want to take advantage of all this knowledge. And that's what you've created that Dream Team Consulting to apply your experience as a business owner, your experience as a having been in the trenches of a family run business to help family run businesses be the best version of themselves. So can you kind of Cole's Notes version, I
Yeah,
don't know if it's called Cole's Notes anymore,
yeah.
but the condensed version of what made you invest in yourself, why do you believe in it, and what kind of things did you find the most valuable? Like, was this a good ROI
Mhm.
investing in you?
Yeah, so growth is one of my top personal values. So for me, it is important that I continue to grow and learn and be exposed to new ideas and new insights, new wisdom. So some of that investment came from, going back to my education, my university. Some of it was from masterminding, attending different events internationally and meeting with other business owners. Some of it was from coaching programs that I've taken. I've been to was in strategic coach for a few years. I went to Tony Robbins program. I'm still in Entrepreneur Enlightenment Academy. So all of these all of these experiences keep me going to the next level in terms of my thinking, how I think about my thinking, my values, and growing and expanding. And in terms of getting the return on them, yes, absolutely. Because some of it shows up just in the numbers, right? In terms of our success with the our client retention in the insurance industry, and some of it's just in terms of how I choose to live my life,
Mm-hmm.
and giving myself the awareness that I need to live a life that's in alignment with my values. And when I get exposed to different ideas and ways of doing that, um, it's 100% worth all of the time. And that's just the money, right? Then there's the time investment
Yeah,
as well
yeah,
of
yeah.
implementing. Yeah.
But in reality, that amount sounds alarming, or not alarm. In reality, that amount sounds like wow. But that's over the course of since you go back to university and you count that and you think, let's
Right.
say it's 25 years, that's only $10,000 a year. And I think that's reasonable when you think about it. You should always be investing in yourself, whether it's a personal growth or a professional growth. In the case of entrepreneurs, it's business growth, because through that you grow and you learn and you gain confidence and you gain solutions in so many different ways. So I think $2,050,000 over, say it's 25 years, is not a lot, but it sounds impressive in
Yeah.
terms of the one-time amount that you've just shared. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Anthea. I have one more question for you. Given your business career and your entrepreneurial journey, is what would you say would be that legacy that you want to leave in life, or that you have already begun? Share that. What is that vision, that legacy in your life that you
Mm-hmm.
hope to achieve or have
Yeah.
achieved?
Yeah. Well, I haven't achieved it yet. It's an ongoing journey. For me, I talk a lot about riding the waves. And it's a quote from John Zabatkin, and it's about how to respond to both disruption, like all challenges, but also when things are going really, really well. when the waters are calm and everything's smooth, right? Like
Mhm.
truly taking that in and recognizing that, that moment of grace or that peace, whatever it is, or it could be joy, whatever it is. But, because entrepreneurs, we tend to be achieving and what's next and what's next and what's next. And so so when we take that pause and we go, good job, right? Or high five somebody else in our organization, whatever, that's also part of that whole like riding the waves, like the up and the downs, and just for people to be able to do that more with more ease and more grace and prosperity, which is so many levels, not just the financial aspect of prosperity, but it's about the other, thriving and success. Um, yeah, I would like to say that I helped impact people to ride the waves of life more successfully.
What a wonderful legacy to leave. I know that as you continue to touch more businesses through your Dream Team Consulting, you will feel the impact of the waves that you've helped ride as well as your own. I know from the experiences that I've had getting to know you in the past half year, I think it's a half a year now, that you are trying to find that balance, to find that joy. When you say, oh, I booked 2 weeks in advance, I said, really? Wow, that's cool. And you know how to limit yourself. You know that this is the amount of time that I'm going to devote to business. This is the amount of time that I'm voting to my personal growth and my family time, and that's good. Kudos to you for finding those boundaries and helping people. So I think you are going to be an asset to anyone who really wants to know more how they can maximize the potential of their own family run businesses, because there's highs and lows in any entrepreneurial business, but there's family dynamics in that. And I know that from my own experience of 17 years, and to be honest, I do miss some of that because my husband does his own thing now and I do my own thing, and those 17 years were really wonderful years to be with him. So still happily married to him, so we do it on that end, but definitely I kind of miss the family part of sharing a business together. Anthea, it's been a joy having you here. How do people get a hold of you? How do people
Yes.
best get a hold of you?
Yeah. So LinkedIn, I'm easy to find. I have an unusual name, so it makes it pretty easy to find. And then the other thing is dreamteamconsulting.ca. That's my website. So definitely people can take a look there. And yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to Rev Up Your Potential with Hilda Gann. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast on YouTube and Spotify to stay up to date on our latest episodes. For HR tips, news, and strategies, or if you're interested in being a guest on our podcast, visit our website at peoplebrightconsulting.com.